national physical activity plan and making it part of Kansas City's efforts to get Kansas City healthier. And they came through that through a lens of childhood obesity. At the time, they were called the Weigh In Division, and as that kind of became their kind of North Star is how to help kids with their weight. They saw this as an opportunity not only for kids, but for all of Kansas City to become healthier through a citywide Kansas City physical activity plan, which was written and um, we started to assemble different leaders in the community to head up different sectors. Um, and so there's now 10 sectors. There's over how many strategies? A lot of strategies, 87, 80 something.
54 strategies and
Okay.
150 some tactics, I think.
Okay. Yeah. So it's a big deal. Each sector has their own strategies, and the sports sector came online to help kids, specifically using sports as our mechanism for getting kids more physically active. That played into my role as I was trying to build a youth sports foundation that focused on helping kids become better people through sports. It worked into our former co-lead, which was Pastor Adrian Roberson, who lives in KCK and works with kids and uses sports as a way to get kids more physically active. And it works for Pete Piscatelli, who is he's the chief operation officer of a nonprofit that's a national nonprofit. It's called Champion. Say it, Pete.
Play like a champion today.
Play like a champion. And he's based here in Kansas City, and he actually used to run the Catholic Youth Sports League in Kansas City. He did that for a long time, so he's got a lot of street cred in Kansas City. Natalie is our. I'm just gonna go through this for everybody. So Natalie is our administrative representative from Children's Mercy Hospital. She helps several different sectors um, keep them on task and keep them focused. And we got Pauline to join us. Hey, Pauline. Good to
Hi,
see you. Thanks. I like you in your royal blue.
thank you. Got my royal shirt on today.
I love it. I love it. Um, and so I'm Bill Brandmeier, and I've been part of the sports sector for I think 4 or 5 years now, and help define the strategies. Initially, one of our strategies, number 27, was to work together to unify nonprofits that use sports to help kids. And so, in that effort, we made the decision to try to bring the Aspen Institute's Project Play team to Kansas City and conduct a study for us that we could use to leverage, hopefully, positive movement towards more kids being physically active and engaged with sports and physical activity. And so far, so good. We keep pushing along, and we have an agenda today that focuses on some of the updates that are going on in our world and how we are trying to pull people together to continue to push. We feel like the the problems facing our kids and the problems facing our city can't be solved alone. We need unity. So we're about collaborative thinking, collaborative working together, and we're just excited that we've got you guys to join us today. Thank you. You want to introduce yourself, Jerome?
Yeah, I can do that. First of all, thank you so much for background knowledge there. And then Natalie for sharing those the activity plan link. I've already kind of looked at that. Strategy 27, I think probably is like where Scholar Smarts comes in play as well. But yeah, Jerome Williams. I'm based in Kansas City, Missouri. Live in Midtown, work out of Midtown. For employment, I work for ACT, which is the college entrance exam company. And basically, I work with any public school, private school, parochial school, independent school in the state of Missouri and South Dakota. So that's what I do for employment. I'm also an executive board member with Scholar Smarts. And then as far as sports background, I mean, I played college basketball. I coached in college for a few years, thought I needed to get a real job, which is, probably I didn't feel like I was really working, which probably meant I was doing what I should have been doing. So when I stopped coaching college and came back to the Midwest, started coaching with Gable. So I've coached with the Gable Basketball League. I've coached on the competitive side with MoCan, coached high school basketball at Lincoln College Prep. And currently I'm coaching middle school basketball at Academy Lafayette Charter School here in KCMO. So that's kind of my background. And, after, reconnecting with Pauline, wanted to do something, along the lines of what you guys are doing, get kids involved. I didn't really take the healthy child approach when it, relates to obesity, but I definitely can understand, activities as far as sports and what that can do to obviously help kids stay active, stay healthy, develop, lifelong skills that will help them as they get older. For kids, I also talk a lot about college, how athletics and not just basketball can help you with the cost of college. I mean, I didn't pay for college, right? Because I received a scholarship. So anything we can do to help kids, keep them engaged, get them active, figure out what they can do to make their lives better, easier, is something I'm all for. And with Scholar Smart, we did host a athletic youth summit last April, and that was pretty well attended. And just so you guys know, it was basically set up with kids would show up. There were some breakout sessions where we would talk to them about things like nutrition, mental health, how to navigate the new normal as it relates to like NIL and things of that nature, basically teaching them like, you're marketing yourself, you are a brand, you need to pay attention to what you're doing on Facebook. Well, they don't use Facebook, but TikTok and Snapchat and all that kind of stuff. And then when they were done with that, we took them outside and we had a combine set up for the kids, right? Where we had coaches that would come and test their vertical, their 100-yard sprint, all those kinds of things. Just kind of giving the kids something to take away that they could use throughout their high school career and hopefully put them on a better track to be successful adults.
That's cool. That's cool. Thank you. Those connection strategies that you guys used at the summit are a lot of things we talk about. So fantastic. Pauline, do you want to just kind of reintroduce yourself to the team? And obviously, you're part of what Jerome just talked about, but your passion for kids it jumps off the screen. We're excited to have you with us. Thank you. Oh, you're on mute.
Thank you. Yes, I know I missed out on.
Oh, you're muted again. Back and forth. One more try.
Okay, hello?
There you go. Okay,
All
we
right.
got you. Okay.
So, yes, thank you. And I'm sorry I missed that last session. Jerome's pretty much described what our focus has been when it comes to one of our pillars. We have 3 pillars, and one of the pillars that he described was the athletic summit. That was our inaugural stab at it. We're continuing to tweak it rather, so we can continue to get the message out. And along with the other flagship event we have coming up, the last part of October is our Infinite Scholar College Fair, where we partner with a St. Louis-based Infinite Scholar organization. They do the nationwide scholars, where they team up with over 30 admissions teams, and they look for hosts, which in this case is the Scholar Smarts organization. So we host a fair one time a year, and we definitely take advantage of that platform so that not only they're meeting potential college admissions, but we're also looking at the fact that they're interested in wraparound services. Also the fact that we've added a trades portion of the event. So we try to be as diversified as possible while we have their undivided attention. So yeah, that's one of the things I wanted to share.
That's cool. Thank you. And Gina Lichty with the Girls on the Run. How are you, my dear?
Oh, so good, Bill. How are you?
Good, good.
Good, good. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much. And Natalie, thank you for getting the invite sent over. Girls on the Run of Greater Kansas City. I'm Gina Lichty, President and CEO, and have been with the organization for the last 10 years. We are a youth development organization focused on empowering girls 3rd through 8th grade through activity. Our lessons, we have a curriculum-based after-school program that focuses on social emotional development. We teach through movement activity. We're focused on how to have healthy conversations, how to have healthy dialogue, curious conversations among peers. We're teaching healthy nutrition, how to be a good citizen, be accountable for the space around you. A lot of life lessons that kids learn through confidence, character building, competence, etc. We involve, again, girls 3rd through 8th grade. We're expanding into how we engage our alumni through junior coaching. We have a youth advisory board. Oh, Jerome, yay. By the way, Jerome, you totally dated yourself when you said Facebook earlier. I was like, yep, I get
No.
that. I was just trying to set my niece up this weekend with one of my neighbor boys, and she's 15, and she was like, that is not how we do it, Aunt Gina. She was like, if he's not on Snapchat, I'm not talking to him. I was like, okay.
Yep.
Yep.
But come
Yep.
over and visit me and I'll just introduce the two of you. And she's like, that's not how we do it. I'm like,
No,
okay.
no. Courting. Yeah, nope.
So yeah, working with youth in the community, Girls on the Run, talking about collaboration. We have brought together other youth development programs that work specifically with girls. Bill and I have been on an adventure of trying to figure out how we get more activity-based youth development programs, also talking, engaging, how do we get funding for our organizations? And also to something that I've been investigating as well is really boys development, and
Yeah.
the achievement gap for boys in K-12 continues to go down. I've spent the last 13 years of my career really focused on girl and women empowerment, and seeing great strides there, and now wanting to make sure that the achievement gap for young men, they don't get left behind. So that's something to interested in the community, and especially how sports movement activity really helps engage those parts of our brain that teaches us lifelong lessons. So
That's good.
a little bit about me. Excited to be a part of this group. We've had Girls on the Run representation, a part of these conversations before. Those staff members have moved on, so now I get to
Yeah.
join you all.
Yeah.
So
that's
thank you
great.
for having me.
Awesome. Well, we'll try to incorporate your talents and your incredible thoughts into this, and also use your organization as an example of what it looks like when it's done right. So thank you so much. All right. So at the top of the agenda is funding. There's a couple things on there that are me, and I'll just kind of mention that the Impact 100. Gina, have you received Impact 100 money before? No, and neither have we. I tried again. They have a new leader. I know him pretty well. He's a really good dude. I don't know. I met with the former leader, Chris. He was a good dude too. I know Jessica really well. She was at Win for KC. She knows all about youth, sports and girls. And I can't, I don't know how like Robin was saying, sometimes it's just like going up against a brick wall. I did have an entree to Cliff Illig at one point where I thought I was going to reach out to him. We decided to go in a different direction, and we'll get a little deeper into our discussions with the World Cup and the team. The idea was to get to Cliff and ask him if he would fund a World Cup legacy, engagement around play equity. We'll kind of fill you guys in on our conversations, because we've had some good conversations, and also there's the World Cup is in a state of confusion at some level. We just had someone join us, and we talk about funding a lot with this other group that I'm working with, Soccer is a Solution. A young man named Rich Chichong. Rich, did I say your last name right? I mean, you talk about cool. I bet he's on Snapchat. Come on, Rich. Rich is a former football player. He played actually overseas, and has come back to Kansas City and is a technology whiz and wants to teach kids how to understand crypto and how to work with technology, and has a lot of tentacles into the Kansas City Black and brown business enhancement, connecting monies to different entrepreneurs. He speaks a lot about what it means to invest in kids through technology, through education, and he's part of a coalition that has formed called Soccer as a Solution, which is an example of what you can do if you would invest your legacy, the World Cup legacy, into play equity, because the team that has been assembled around Soccer as a Solution is a really high quality group of people that have different interests in helping educate kids and use different types of curriculum, but use the game of soccer as that as that thing that pulls kids together, gets them out of their heads, gets them into something better. So anyway, I don't want to hijack it, but I just wanted to introduce Rich because he popped on. Can we hear you, dude? It's like you're in a video, like a music video. What you? We still can't hear you. You got to unmute yourself.
How about now?
There you go. All right.
The singing my praises as a tech person, and I can't even work Zoom. Like I said, I get humbled every day, as everybody does, as I'm supposed to be the tech expert. Appreciate you allowing me to be a part of this meeting, and very nice to meet everybody in the group.
Did I say your last name right? It's Chungong? Chungong. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, so that's great. So I just want to get through this agenda so we don't go over time, but we're talking about funding. There's there's different opportunities that pop up all the time in terms of funding opportunities, but some of them come out of left field. What I'm learning through this process is that we really have to give some people some really concrete things to fund, and things like Girls on the Run and your curriculum and what you do in girls' lives, and you've been doing it for 10 years, and the evidence is there, and these young girls need this kind of mentorship, and you have data that you've collected and feedback, and that's what a funder is looking for. A lot of times we get around in these little play equity, and collaborative workspaces talking about how to get this thing funded, and we don't know what the hell we're even doing yet. So it's like, how do you do that? So Soccer as a Solution is one of those things. I did have I do a fundraiser called March Gladness every year. I launched that yesterday. It's a 3-on-3 basketball tournament on March 28th at home field. But throughout the month of March, I want to tell stories of the power of sports to transform kids' lives. Gina, I'd love to talk to you offline about any kind of stories that we might be able to tell about what Girls on the Run can do. I kicked the month off with a radio show on 810 WHB on the 5th of March. And I just found out last week that head coach Bill Self is going to come on as one of my featured guests. The first hour will be co-hosted by Brian Haney, the voice of the Jayhawks, and that's kind of cool. But as the other pieces come together, we're going to be talking about Watson Links and what they're doing with increasing opportunities for kids to play golf. We're going to talk with an organization that Tony Temple has kind of started. It's Temple Made Fitness and what he's doing. We're going to feature stories, and I would love Girls on the Run to be featured. And then throughout the month, ways that we can tell the story of how these relationships develop through sports and what they mean. In my conversations with Kaufman around play equity, I've centered the focus on sports as an early childhood intervention. That we don't have a lot of systems that can go into a young person's life and teach them life skills that help prepare them for all the opportunities that might come forward to them. By the time they get to something as cool as School Smarts, they need to be prepared to be able to take advantage of those kinds of programs that are created for high school students. And so anything we can do to give kids the life skills that they need to take advantage of the opportunities in this world, we need to try to be doing that. And there's very few things that do the job as well as sports does. And so if you think about this as an early intervention method to get to kids who need us and who need to be equipped to take on the challenges of the world that we're leaving them, sports is it. And movement is the medicine for sure. Pete, would you add anything else as we kind of move to the next deal? I'm going to lean on you a little bit because I wanted to hear from you too about your takeaways. But we'll move on. On April 8th, we are bringing together community to talk about the impact of the
Wait,
World Cup.
Bill, I
Oh.
missed Pete's introduction.
Oh, let's have Pete. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, Pete. I'm
Happy to
sorry.
introduce myself. Pete Piscatello. I'm the co-lead with Bill on the sports sector here. I'm here local in Overland Park, but I work for a national nonprofit, Play Like a Champion. We do predominantly coach and parent training across the country, character-based training, schools, youth organizations. We've worked with in a couple different places, I think, Girls on the Run chapters. So very familiar with that. And we also do a lot of work in under-resourced communities to develop kind of a collective impact model, an association model that allows local organizations to work together and whether it's generate funding or develop, programming together collectively that kind of gets as many kids as possible involved. That's something we're passionate about. So we do that in Chicago, South Bend. We're working on Indianapolis, Philadelphia. And as Bill mentioned earlier, I've spent most of my career here in Kansas City working on the youth sports level and college athletics before that. So kind of always excited to be involved here in the local community. And this is a great group of people who are really working towards the right things. So,
Yeah.
Pete,
That's
were you
great.
on a panel at Kaufman Foundation? Maybe that was the day that we did the sports sector Aspen Institute. Okay.
yeah, yep. Yeah, absolutely. That was our program director, myself, and then and I'll forget his name, but the associate executive director for Acacia was on a panel there.
Yep.
Yep.
Sweet. Awesome. Hello, Cerise. Cerise Hall has joined us. She's, along with Rich, part of Soccer as a Solution. And Cerise has a passion for kids, and she's done the work. She's got credentials that lead her into spaces that a lot of people can't get to, and we're lucky to have her part of our team. Glad you could join us.
Good morning. I'm so passionate. I'm at the hospital, but I took time. Rich called me, and that's why I couldn't get on. So I'm at the hospital. So good morning, everyone.
Yeah.
Morning.
Well, we're on agenda item number 2. We're going to talk about the April event. Natalie, you want to kind of give some detail? Oh, do you have something?
Well, Pauline's had her hand up for a while, so
Oh,
I want to
okay,
give her the
Pauline.
opportunity to speak.
Sorry. I
Thank
wasn't
you,
noticing.
Natalie. I forgot I had it up. Okay, so I wanted to circle back just real quickly without deviating from the agenda. Bill mentioned the 100 grant. I didn't write that down.
Impact
what is that?
100. It's United Way's annual funding mechanism that they put out in early December, maybe late November. I don't know, sometime at the end of every year, and they it's I'm sure they have hundreds, if not thousands, of organizations there. Gina just put up the link for you. that apply every year, and it's United Way's way of deciding who gets their resources.
Okay, so it's not really an athletic
Not
focus type
specifically,
grant.
no.
Okay. And then lastly,
It's
Pete,
programmatic mostly. Let's
Okay.
program
Uh,
funded.
Pete, I would like to off camera talk to you. I think we might have some synergy, and Jerome can join in maybe later at a date that's mutually.
Absolutely. Yeah. Put my
Yeah.
email in the chat.
That's perfect.
Thank you.
Okay. And yeah, anytime anybody wants to reach out to Pete, to Robin, to Natalie, we are open to those conversations for sure. So the April 8th, Natalie, do you want to just kind of read or explain what April 8th is so far, and then I'll talk a little bit about what we might turn it into.
Yeah, as we were kind of wrapping up last year, we talked about the benefit of doing in-person events and having everyone in the same room. So we're looking to host a few more of those this year. With the World Cup coming to town, we thought our spring event would align nicely with getting community partners engaged with that activity, since it's kind of a once in a lifetime opportunity that's coming to our city. So our ideas around it were kind of like, how can we collectively do things as youth sport providers throughout the metro during that, and like harness the energy and get more kids excited about sports, not necessarily just soccer. So I guess, Bill, if you want to, one of our first steps was reaching out to the KC26 team, and we met with them, me, Pete, and Bill last week to see what kind of involvement they would like. If Bill or Pete want to give a recap or takeaways from that meeting, that'd be good.
Pete, why don't you
Sure.
share your thoughts, and then I'll
Sure.
circle back.
Yeah, it was a great opportunity to meet with them. The host committee has been they've been a little bit fuzzy, I think, through the last few years. I think everybody in Kansas City kind of wonders what exactly is going on, other than the fact that transportation is beefing up and tickets are going to cost $1 million. So it was great to actually sit down and talk to folks and get a little bit of a feel for what they're doing. We met with their chief commercial officer and then also their, I believe her title is Director of Regional Impact. What I think pertains to this group that we learned is that really when they talk about impact, I think we were hoping probably that the social impact, which certainly youth sports would be aligned with that, would be a little higher in the list. But it is very much a regional business impact that they are focused on. So certainly they are still very much involved in trying to get sponsors for the actual events here in Kansas City, whether it's the Fan Fest or, things out at Arrowhead. I read something last week about the actual cost to the host committees in terms of the suite obligations they have. So I would imagine they're trying to cover some of their own costs because it's all self-funded. They're not getting a bunch of money from FIFA, which I think is probably a misnomer. People assume you get the World Cup, the local city gets a bunch of money poured in, and that's just not the case. They're out there funding their activities largely here locally, regionally, certainly nationally. But in terms of impact, their primary goal is sort of placing Kansas City as a business, and certainly sports is on the list, but as a business and cultural capital of the country to a global audience. So they're looking for ways that they can broadly, create business interest in the Kansas City community, economic interest, those types of things from people who will be visiting or see us on, media and television. On that list, I think the third prong, and I have my notes in front of me, but they did mention social impact. And so we sort of positioned the work we're trying to do here as a way for them to plug into something that's already momentum that's already building in terms of youth sports and trying to create a collective impact with a bunch of different organizations locally. They're going to take that back and think about it and talk about it, what it looks like. Bill, you can chime in as well. I think it's safe to say they don't quite know what that looks like. I mean, they don't have a real vision, at least not that I gathered, for exactly what that looks like, other than, the people who have been involved in their board that oversees the host committee, things they may have suggested and organizations they're involved with. So obviously the easy sell for them is soccer, and youth soccer organizations and grassroots soccer. But I think there's a little bit of work to do on our side, sort of we being very much the collective we, to, I don't know, convince them that, the grassroots effort could see a lot of positive impact from everything that's going on. So I don't know if that's a good
Yeah.
summary, Bill, but that's how
That
I
was
would
perfect.
characterize it.
No, that's really, really good. They pushed the conversation back to the board. So there's the planning group, the team we met with. They're boots on the ground. They're getting things done. They're in charge of, like he said, there's 3 different things that Tracy cares about. It's small business engagement and the impact of the World Cup on small business in Kansas City. It's the Fan Fest and making sure that fans have a blast and that we have something really special to sell during the events. And then it's this connecting with the world and bringing world economies to Kansas City and bringing business from the world to Kansas City and showing that Kansas City is a great place to conduct business and entertain. So they, if you were to ask them today what their legacy is, they would probably say it's that Kansas City is a really cool place to host the World Cup, and that we can do it and we can keep people safe and we can move people around our city, and that we've figured this out, and maybe better than other cities even. Not like you can't slight them for the effort. They've done some really great work, and but they do not think about long-term legacy, what's going to happen when the World Cup leaves. That's not part of what they want.
Well, they disappear once the World Cup leaves, effectively.
Yeah, and so the board is the group that has to reconcile that. And I've been on the board since the beginning. I have a really good relationship with Neil Sharma, who actually helped me understand play equity and the impact play equity could have on my organization, Sharewaves, and overall the group discussion. He spent time with me before he was even vice chair of the board. And so I've been working with Neil about how this might be part of their discussion, and he's kind of not really known what to do with it all. And Mike was pretty clear saying that I need to go back to the board and try to push it that way. And I ran into Mike, ironically, I ran into him last night at dinner, and I said, "What does this all mean to us?" And he said, I said, "Should I go to Mark Jorgensen and talk?" He's like, "Well, do you know him?" I said, "Well, I've known him for 30 years. I know Mark Jorgensen." He said, "Yes, you go to Mark Jorgensen and you ask him what he thinks." So I'm going to go to Mark Jorgensen and ask him what he thinks, and that'll just give us some information about, more data about what they're thinking. And the part that Pete kind of layered in there is that we're ready. We have been working on this for 3 years. We have the Aspen Institute's Project Play Report for Kansas City. We have community that works together. We like each other. We're ready to go. It's just a matter of flipping the switch. And with this April 8th kind of hanging out there, it gives us something to push them towards and say, hey, this could be, right now we have a room for 45 people. If the World Cup decides they want to come and join and be a part of a community discussion and community impact on the World Cup, we would have to get a bigger room, and we would have to have some help to host that. But I think that there's a desire out in this kind of, community-based activation, nonprofit world, the 501c3s that are involved in youth sports, that we could generate, I think, enough energy to fill the room in a really cool way. So the clock is ticking. We want to start invites next week, and try to get the room filled with 45 people. And if the World Cup doesn't come in and try to help us, then we're going to still have this kind of conversation with a big group of people. 45 is big for me. I mean, that's a lot. Right now we have, it's awesome that we have 12 people on this call or 9 people. But that being said, you ask anyone, and if the World Cup decides that they're going to put their logo on something, it turns into something different. So, anybody have anything else to add?
I think it's clear that there's a lot of good people involved who probably like the idea of leaving a lasting legacy in the sort of youth sports world. But it's also very clear that the pressures being put on anybody involved are pretty significant and are, piling on every day in terms of just their what they're being asked to do. So in order to meet their, they talk about their criteria, what they have to do for FIFA, and that kind of thing. So, yeah, we'll see where it goes, but I think that, it's interesting. I don't think most people here locally understand everything that goes into this, outside of just the event. Probably those of us in this room who have put on events before have a little bit of an idea, but, it was very interesting to hear them speak about it as well. So.
And Natalie just posted a little example of other
Yep.
cities. I've pushed some of these other cities to the team, and I told Neil about it. I told Mark about them. We have a chance. Kansas City was the first city to sign the Children's Bill of Rights for sports. We have a mayor that believes that youth sports is a really powerful mechanism to reach young people. We think youth sports and any kind of engagement with programs like Girls on the Run or the sports lab that they do at the Boys and Girls Clubs, or what School Smarts does. Those keep kids out of trouble. They keep them safe and out of making poor decisions that might ruin their lives. And so I think there's a lot here that has to be weighed against doing nothing. And I don't think they want to do nothing, but I don't think they quite know who to trust or what to trust. And at least we've positioned ourselves as a group that they can trust. So,
I have a question. So
yes,
what,
ma'am.
am I understanding that the event that's taking place, Natalie, did you say April the 8th?
April
Yes,
the
ma'am.
Okay, so this is where we want to fill a room, say, for example, with 45 folks, you said?
Right now, the room is it maxes out at 45 at the Kauffman Foundation.
Okay, and the purpose of doing this again would be to
It's
create
this
an
meeting.
awareness, create an
yeah, it's-
awareness. And what would be the top highlights that or outcomes that we're needing?
Well, it's this sports sector highlighting collective impact and what it means to work together to use soccer or use sports to transform young people's lives.
Okay. And so how have you developed your invite list?
Well, we have an invite list from past events that we've conducted that we'll start with, and it's a
Okay.
who's who of the right people, but it can be added to at any time.
Mm-hmm.
We've worked these kinds of meetings before. We had 120 people at our event last August with the Aspen Institute in town, and we
Right,
had
I
national
remember that.
speakers come in,
Yeah.
and that was a list that we compiled where we all got around the table and said who should be there, who do we want in the room, and we went after those people, and we had a lot of those people in the room. Neil Sharma being one of them, and the head of the Aspen Institute Project Play, Tom Ferry, was there. So we've shown that we are capable of gathering the right people. This is a little bit unique and special. It's not, it's not going to be headed up by the Aspen Institute in any way, which but if World Cup comes and we get Matt Besler to get up on stage to talk about, soccer and then we have Matt Besler, then 120 people will show up, or 150 people. I mean, people will want to be in that room if we do it right.
Gotcha. Yeah. So it's a great PR opportunity.
Yes, ma'am.
I like it. I like it. Let us know what we can do.
Yes, ma'am.
And it's Scholar Smarts,
Scholar Smarts. What
Yeah.
what have I been saying?
School Smarts, I think.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Scholars.
That's all
It's
right.
funny that the athletic director, Sam Simmons, at the Kansas City, Kansas public school system calls all of his athletes scholar athletes. And
Yeah.
he doesn't want to use any other word but scholar. Like that's the word. And so
I
I've been
love that.
I've been training my brain, and I apologize.
I think I would just circle back to maybe one of the questions you were going to ask, Pauline, is about the event is, I think, what is the outcome? Hopefully it's that we get a bunch of people in the room who, we can have the discussion of what does the fact that the World Cup is here this summer mean for Scholar Smarts? What does it mean for Girls on the Run? What does it mean for, any other organization in the youth sports area in Kansas City? How do we leverage that, and how do we work together? Even if, it's not just a group of youth soccer organizations, right? How do we all work together to leverage, as maybe Bill said, the energy, or Natalie said that earlier, of one of the biggest events in the world, and frankly, a lot of the interest in some of the work I've done. We've looked at some of the impact of even like teams. I mean, when the Chiefs are good, the participation in youth football in Kansas City skyrockets. I could point to numbers in 2010 when they were terrible, and numbers in now, and it's night and day in terms of the kids participating. It's not necessarily the only factor, but I look at that and say, okay, clearly there's a correlation between, sort of athletic success and things on that stage, and, kids wanting to get involved. Okay. So how do we look at, thousands and thousands of kids who, some of them, many of them already are involved in youth sports. Probably a lot of them aren't, and see this big deal that happens this summer and want access to something. And how do we make sure we provide that for them, whatever it is? So I guess that's the way I sort of view it, as an opportunity for all of us to kind of collectively get together and wrap our heads around how do we all look at that, and how do we all facilitate that, right? Because my expertise isn't the same as what Scholar Smarts is doing, and what Girls on the Run is doing, and all your different organizations. So yeah, I think we can have a lot of success if we can get the right people in the room and have those conversations.
And when is the actual cup here in the Kansas City area?
June 16th is the first game. Argentina plays Nigeria.
Okay.
June 16th.
And maybe we can piggyback off of what's coming down the pipeline. And like you said, if we can get the speaker, Matt Beasler, what was his name?
Yeah.
That's great.
And what is Matt's role? I'm
Matt
sorry.
was the captain of the Sporting KC, but he played on the World Cup team. He's got
Okay.
a lot of brand appeal in Kansas City in terms of soccer. He runs
Mm-hmm.
a youth soccer organization called Captains League
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
But he's just a nice guy that is, would be a good face. He's actually been hired by the World Cup to be one of their spokespeople, and
Awesome.
so he's out there
Yeah.
doing it.
If we could get him and then pat it from there, I mean, that would be great. If we can get some players, I don't know, they have contracts, so I don't know what
former
that would
players,
look like.
yeah, there's
Former players.
yeah, for sure.
And just getting an insight on the players, the good, the bad, the ugly, that would be
Well, that's
cool.
good. There's more to come here. I want to kind of get through this agenda. Is like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. We're on the first item, and we have 10 minutes. So, the Win for KC Sports Awards were last week. If you want to know the awardees, there's a link on the agenda. The Aspen State of Play link is on the agenda, and so is the Kansas City 2026 Community Playbook, which has nothing in it about legacy. It's all about the event. It's kind of an event guide, but it's cool. It's really well done. Everything that the World Cup has touched so far, as far as from a marketing guy, who's it's top notch.
Well, probably worth stating here that the important takeaway from that is, unless you are paying for the rights to the mark, do not reference World Cup or anything formally related in any of your materials. They are hounds when it comes to their copyright, and basically you have to be a corporate sponsor or have permission to use even the phrase World Cup. So it is worth looking into that if you're thinking about things this summer.
Or
I want to
FIFA.
make,
Yeah,
Go
you
ahead.
can't use FIFA, you can't use World Cup. Like they give examples of like what you could call a community gathering focused
Yeah.
around this. Like,
it's very
No
clear.
watch parties.
yeah, exactly. So it is worth thinking about as a youth sports organizations here in town or youth centered organizations, you know,
Got it.
and they'll be watching.
Yeah, for sure. A couple of meetings and conferences and trainings that are coming up. I don't know if you guys remember Katie Sowers. Sowers was she was a coach in the NFL, local, from some small town in Missouri, I think Springfield, maybe. Not small, but medium-sized. She was a 5-time national champion, and she's going to do a flag football clinic on March 7th. That's in Ottawa, and it's got the YMCA involved, so that's kind of cool. And there's also a free clinic to help coaches, a coaching clinic, and
That's the flag football one.
that's the same thing. Okay.
Yeah,
And then the
it-
quarterly meeting is March 18th. That's where the whole group comes together, all the different sectors. And we all meet down at the Kauffman Foundation. And this time on the 18th, we're going to talk about childhood obesity and specifically about obesity medications. And then Shape America is coming to Kansas City, which is interesting. I've been listening to their podcast for a while. They certainly are aligned. And then if anybody's interested in more information on the Project Play Summit, which is in Boston this year, that's on May 5th and 6th. And that is a nationwide gathering of all like-minded people around sports equity and how using sports to impact kids is a positive thing. Organizationally, does anybody have any updates that they'd like to share before I talk about ShareWaves?
Girls in the Run are actively recruiting participants for our spring season. We launch March 9th. We're in 130 schools this spring, so register your kiddos. And then also Girls in the Run, we have a gala on February 28th to benefit scholarships for serving more girls in our community. We'll be at Loose Mansion, and it's going to be a really fun time. We've got a tarot card reader and a magician. Come on through.
Well, so let's talk about having you on, Gina, the radio show, and talking about that, because that'll be perfect timing. We'll have it on the 5th, and there could be an opportunity to share your story and what's happening there. That's cool.
That'd be great, Bill.
And then also get information to Natalie. She can put it in the flyer that goes out. The flyer just went out yesterday. Is it every other week that you send a?
I was holding off because I was hoping to include the save the date for this one, but it should next week go out.
Okay. And that's for the whole Healthy Lifestyles Collaborative, right?
Oh, sorry, I was speaking about the sports sector newsletter in general. The
No,
Healthy
no.
Lifestyles Collaborative newsletter comes out once a month, and that goes
Once
to
a
all
month.
of.
And that just went out yesterday. Do you guys ever do special ones, special blasts?
For individual events like this April event, and then like our
Yeah.
early childhood sectors hosting a garden training this spring
You'll
too.
do. Okay, great. So, and then, so, yeah, so, if you ever have anything that has to do with trying to gather people together, gather kids together, opportunities to get people more physically active, it can go into the monthly newsletter. The sports sector we have our own blast. Is that right? Or are you just talking about the invitation to the April 8th deal?
Each month there's just a sports sector newsletter
Okay.
too.
And that'll go out next week. So we can get the Girls in the Run information and anybody else's information in the one next week to the sports sector. And how big's the sports sector list?
These are people that like regularly or have attended meetings. I think there's 150 clicks.
150. That's good. Okay. Okay. I talked about March Gladness a little bit. March 28th, Jerome and Pauline, I'd love your help reaching out to your communities and asking them if there are kids that want to be involved in the 3-on-3 basketball tournament. I'm offering discounts for under-resourced kids to come and join us. It's at Home Field in KCK on March 28th. It's an all-day event. We'll start with breakfast in the morning and play all day, and it's second grade through high school. We're partnering with the Do Like Duke Foundation, which is in memory of kind of supporting the legacy of a young man that lost his life in October. Duke was an amazing kid, and he loved sports, and he was very inclusive. FYI, I'm inviting different organizations to come and bring their kids, Boys and Girls Clubs. They have over 900 athletes right now, scholar athletes playing youth basketball. And so that's pretty phenomenal. And hopefully we get a number of those kids to come and join us. The kids that can afford it will pay for entry. It's $25 a kid. And the kids who can't afford it come for free. And I will post a link to more information in the chat.
Yeah, I'll share that with my middle school team today. So perfect.
Okay.
Robin, the only thing we skipped on the agenda, I think, was you and updates on the mapping project or Midwest Center for Nonprofit Leadership updates.
Yeah, happy to share updates. Sorry, I was in the car, but I'm back now. So a couple updates on what we're doing, kind of from a KCPA plan level as it relates to youth sports. And let me just pull up my notes just to make sure I hit them all. So the first thing is we're going to receive a report in the next couple weeks that is a deep dive into 5 Kansas City sports. So we're going to look at tackle football, flag football, soccer, dance, and adaptive sports as a whole. And what we were doing is you may have heard us mention, we counted every single youth sports program in the region in 2025. There's almost 4,000 of them. But we wanted to get more specific information on 5 sports. And so we have done, we've completed in-depth interviews with about 10 providers within each of those sports to learn about barriers and opportunities within each of those sports. So where are the kids that are in your program coming from? How much does it cost for them to participate? What is the total time they're expected to participate? Who might be missing? Do you offer scholarships? All of these things. So that report is going to be released, like I said, in the next 2 weeks. Second, we have 2 new projects that we're starting. One is to map those 4,000 youth physical activity programs, actually put them on a map, and then overlay it, geocode it with key metrics of interest. So, for example, SNAP households within each geocoded area. Car households with no or 1 car within each youth sport area, bus routes within each area. Looking at this will tell us things like are kids in areas with, like low income, no access to car, do they have opportunities within like a walking or biking distance from their house, or do they have to drive to Olathe to do something? And then the second project that we're starting is we are basically going to do like an audit of youth play equity programs across the country. We're going to figure out what cities have them, what their budget is, what their staff is, what their mission is, learn all that stuff, and then take that information and hopefully put it to use here for something similar. Learn from what others are doing nationally and apply it locally here. So that was a real quick overview. Sorry, don't have a lot more time, but we
all
can
right.
talk about all those things more in the coming months.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you, everyone. It's 1 o'clock. I don't want to keep you past the hour. I know you guys are all busy. I appreciate you coming. I thought we had a great meeting. Anybody have last minute comments? All right. The more you come, the more you know. So thank you so much.